Thanks for stopping by to watch another video here at All I See Is W, where we gain on positive proceeds and lead with an altruistic mindset. Today, I wanted to create this video to share with you my overall updates on the three top Bitcoin miner plays that I believe have the potential to make significant bullish runs in the remainder of 2024, heading into 2025. The fact that we've seen Bitcoin make significant milestone achievements in beginning of December timeframe, breaking through that $100,000 psychological barrier. Yes, we do see the bipolar volatility movements with Bitcoin. Early in December, it reached an all-time high of 104,000, and then it dropped down to 92,000 about 2 weeks ago. And it was recent where we saw Bitcoin reach this all-time high up to about 108,000. And just today, it went down to about 91,000. However, we're continuing to see that established support. Now, current state Bitcoin hovering at 97,000. I believe it's just the volatility that we see in Bitcoin, but volatility is a good thing. That means vitality. Bitcoin isn't going away. You can't engineer more Bitcoins. I believe that there's just so much market sentiment going on. We have Donald Trump. Soon the inauguration will take place. He's an advocate of Bitcoin. We have the US Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. There's game theory going on right now. It's manifest destiny. The country with the most Bitcoins will be able to establish its power over other countries. And that's why all these countries are mining and trying to gather and acquire, purchase Bitcoin. However way you do it, you just got to keep mining and buying Bitcoin right now. And I believe Bitcoin isn't going away. And for those reasons, these miners have the potential to make big bull runs. And I am going to cover these miners not in terms of their overall performance for 2024, but I'm talking about the upcoming undervalued potential that is ready to soon show as we head into the new year. Let's begin, guys, and I'll give you my overall updates on who those three miners are. And if you're new to this channel, first, I would really appreciate you smashing a like and subscribing for more related content. Let's begin, guys. So the three miners that I believe have the potential to make bullish runs here is what we see here at the top line is RIOT platforms. What we see in this pink color here is Clean Spark. And what we see here, the line represented in purple is Mara. We know that these are the top three hodler mining Bitcoin companies current state, with Mara leading the race with the most HODL. With Bitcoins, they have about 44,000 Bitcoins on their balance sheet. Second is RIOT Platforms having about close to 18,000 Bitcoins on their balance sheet. They've acquired more Bitcoins as well, similar to Mara. And in third place now, right neck to neck to Hut with Hut 8 is CleanSpark. However, CleanSpark has that high throughput with mining Bitcoins per day as well. So they'll bypass Hut 8 and currently ranked in, I would say, number three with their HODL, especially since their mining capacity is ranked number two at this time. So we're looking at the overall technicals here, and I just wanted to share with you just with the recent charts from a 5-day perspective, what we see here with Clean Spark here at like the 10% gain. Here we see the minus 6% gain. We saw on Wednesday, everyone reacted to Jerome Powell's Federal Reserve updates in that there's going to be a reduction in interest rates. People are worried about inflation being one of the biggest issues that will continue into 2025. But to me, I think all of this news will go away at one point. I think there was some reactionary going on with the stock market and Bitcoin, in that the Federal Reserve, they're saying that they don't back Bitcoin, they can't own it. But just how Bitcoin is designed, it has nothing to do with the Federal Reserve. Bitcoin is designed to function on its own, and it's really how the market values this digital global commodity asset. It's really Bitcoin setting the precipice based on supply and demand. So nothing has to do with the Federal Reserve here. You know, the Federal Reserve does have the ability to raise interest rate, decrease interest rate to combat inflation, but that's based on the fiat money. When we look at Bitcoin through the lens of digital commodity, that has nothing to do with inflation. The Federal Reserve has no way to control that. But from a government perspective, we know that the US Bitcoin Strategic Reserve is what's going to be coming, especially with Donald Trump leading the show very soon here. So for those reasons, I think Bitcoin is going to run up to that 150,000, 200,000 in 2025. But just looking at the charts here, just from a 5 day perspective, we've seen that just that consistent downward trajectory. And we've seen this across all of the different miners as well. I think this is really just a great opportunity to buy on the discount. Think of this as Black Friday. You have the top three hodlers here, Mara, Riot, CleanSpark. They're holding a number of Bitcoins on the balance sheet. And who knows, eventually there's going to be government support funding with these companies that have a high number of Bitcoins because these are US based North American mining companies here. And when you look at it here, I mean, just seeing this overall price reduction here, continued descending resistance. What goes down will eventually pop back up, and the relative strength index, just looking at the technicals here, because we've seen Bitcoin rise up, I think miners are just lagging behind. Of course, we've seen other small Bitcoin miners dominating. There's a couple workhorses that have performed, but I believe 2025 will be the year where the large scale established Bitcoin miners like Mara, CleanSpark, and Riot will add value to its shareholders. We didn't see that as we, let's say, zoom out from a year to date perspective here. We see Riot down at 32%. At the beginning of the year, they were hovering at like $18 back in December last year. But where we see Riot today, I mean, it's minus 32%. With Mara, it's still down year to date, 13%. CleanSpark, we did see CleanSpark, be the workhorse in early February and March, but just seeing that overall descending performance towards the end of the year here, now just at a net of like 2%, these miners haven't really performed at all in 2024 when you think about it. They actually underperformed, but I personally don't think that these big time miners are going to underperform in 2025. They're just lagging behind right now. I think that hodler companies with the high mining capacity are really going to show their strength in the new year. And that's why I'm really bullish on these three companies here. Let's take a look at just some updates. So Mara, in fact, yesterday they made a huge purchase of 15,574 Bitcoin worth 1.53 billion. So now when you look at Mara's overall Bitcoin treasury as of like December 18th is 44,394 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So that's about 10% of what MicroStrategy holds on to. But just that conviction, believing in Bitcoin that at one point on a zoomed out scale, it's going to go up even further. And that's why Mara is trying to just build on their balance sheet, continue to acquire Bitcoin on top of mining Bitcoin at a high throughput. They've, in fact, last year mined about 900 Bitcoins, currently just with that hash milestone achievement of like 50 exahash that was just announced recently. Here we're looking at overall stock price forecast from stock analysis, and there's 10 analysts that are saying, just from a 12-month price forecast, they're estimating an average target of $25.80 with a potential high of $34 here with the low point of $21. So if you're estimating a a low point of $21. That's basically the current support level at like 1996. That's why I believe Mara is definitely a discount at this time. Let's say if you were to buy it like at $30 about a few days ago versus now at 1996, once it goes back to $30, you're at a 33% gain. So you're trading above the waters. You're not drowning right now. But overall, looking at the recommendation trends here with no reds here, it's all yellow for hold and buy and strong buy. I think there's lots of, just conviction with Mara, even though with the recent days we've been just seeing Mara bleed out. But I think when there's blood on Wall Street, taking advantage is the smartest thing to do, whether that's through dollar cost averaging down or considering Mara as one of your investment strategies. I wanted to share with you Riot Platform's current price at $11.67. Just recently, we saw that Riot with the announcement of acquiring Bitcoin, adding it to their balance sheet. They took a convertible note of close to about 550 million, and they used that loan with a very low interest rate, less than 1%, to acquire Bitcoin at prices of like 97,000, 101,000, and they were able to build on their treasury for Bitcoin, now close to about 18,000 Bitcoin on their reserve. So a little half of what Mara owns. But this has really got Riot Platform's share price to hover up within the recent days, getting up to about $14 in the prior trading days. And just with the announcement that Starboard just took a huge investment into Riot Platforms, trying to convey Riot to tap into its current mining facility, Corsicana, to consider building on HPC AI cloud-based service. So there's been lots of news around Riot Platforms just recently at like, mid $14. And it was until the Jerome Powell news, Federal Reserve, which got the investors to react, traders taking their money out, selling the stock, and which is why we see it go from 14 to $11. But I think that from today's performance, support is being built here, and I think that we're just going to continue to see higher lows and higher highs. And Riot Platform, I believe, has that potential to 3 to 5x as we head into the new year here. But overall, I believe the fact that Riot Platforms now they have that potential HPC AI avenue, as well as acquiring Bitcoin on top of consistent mining production. Last year, they mined about close to 500 Bitcoins, increasing that exahash operational efficiency, mining at a low cost with a strong, efficient miner fleet. I think Riot is here to stay, and for those reasons, the share price is going to change significantly. You look at the 12-month change here at like minus 35% with the 52-week range of like $18. So Riot, I definitely think is undervalued, right? I mean, it's close to its like 52-week low point range at the basement low. The fact that Bitcoin is now hovering around like the $100,000, these miners are just going to perform. They've just been lagging behind, but I don't think they're going to continue lagging and they're going to start catching up. In fact, being workhorses in the new year. Let's take a look at CleanSpark here. So we know that several weeks ago, CleanSpark announced news regarding their November production data, but just to keep in mind that they were able to mine 622 Bitcoins, achieving a daily production high of 21 Bitcoin. I believe that that number may be increased by now. And with the recent convertible note that they got, the loan with zero interest, instead of buying Bitcoin with that, they're planning on using those funds to build on their strategy for next year onward to get their hash rate up to the 50 exahash, similar to what Mara has just achieved. But that's really going to increase their mining production from like 600 to like 900 per month. Who knows how long that will take? That can take within a few months if they're going to implement at a lightning speed. But overall, their HODL right now is at around the mid 9,000 Bitcoins on their overall treasury. But I think with CleanSpark's strategy, paying down that line of credit with Coinbase, buying back shares with the convertible note, and using the funding to build on their exahash. That just shows their overall conviction and the belief in their miner fleets that they have across the different locations, like in Mississippi, Wyoming, with the current S21 emerging cooling technology, S21 Pro miners that are currently in play. That's why CleanSpark has one of the leading efficiency fleets out there with 19 joules of terahash. And overall, I think just with the current price that we see, because the price has been dropping. So, just recently we saw that, just with the recent months, it was Mara that was, performing well recently, and then Mara started dropping down. So you see here Mara going up with, the playbook of buy more Bitcoin. And then once Riot adopted that strategy, you see Riot going up, right? And then it started going down as well. And I think, with recent news of like CleanSpark, having a different alternative approach, you see the share price building stability. And I think that that stability between these three stocks, we're going to see a reverse trend. And for those reasons, I believe that these are the top three miners that have significant potential to make a reversal and potentially make big gains for investors of these three companies. And again, if you're considering investing, please make sure to do your research, take my information as guidance, and please make sure to subscribe for more related content. Thanks, guys.